What's up, guys? Welcome back to the right side. Today, I want to talk about the deep state and draining the swamp. What makes America special is that we are a country built on freeing oppression and fighting back against an overreaching government. 50 different states united under a restricted federal government, limited and kept in check by 3 distinct branches. Lobbyists seduce the legislative branch, and the Constitution is only as strong as the judge ruling upon it. Each branch has its own unique areas of corruption, which are born from its purpose. Legislative creates, executive enforces, and judicial interprets. Many different laws impact different sectors of everyday life. So to enforce the law effectively and efficiently, the executive branch, with the consent of Congress, establishes agencies and departments tasked with enforcing the law in its respective area. To fill in the spots in these agencies, the president nominates officers and such for the Senate to confirm. These officers and directors are better known as bureaucrats, unelected workers tasked with enforcing the law and regulations. Bureaucrats are a class of employees protected by civil service protections, protecting them from being fired for political reasons, amongst others. These civil service protections have the effect of insulating unelected bureaucrats from termination, regardless of the party in power, despite being nominated by the president for political reasons. This class of unelected bureaucrats make up its own leviathan, a part of the government that isn't explicitly in the Constitution, but has grown immensely powerful over time: the administrative state. As I said before, to enforce the country's laws in an organized way, Congress creates agencies under the executive branch, each focusing on a specific policy, like the EPA for the environment or the FDA for food and drug safety. These agencies are again filled by bureaucrats who aren't elected, and thanks to civil service protections, can't be easily fired. Initially designed to protect workers from political firing, this structure has ended up shielding an entire class of federal employees from political accountability. Essentially, we've created a situation where these bureaucrats operate with a level of independence that makes them almost untouchable, often prioritizing their own interests and agendas over those elected officials supposedly in charge. This fourth branch of government is what we call the deep state. It includes agencies like the CIA, the FBI, DHS, and the CDC, where unelected officials make crucial decisions about how laws are enforced. Decisions that can directly impact our freedoms and everyday lives. One subtle but crucial dynamic here is the difference between creating and enforcing laws. We all know that lobbyists are paying big money to influence Congress and secure the benefits of corporations. However, legislators are a small part of the machine compared to the administrative state. Wealthy influencers and corporations have figured this out too. Rather than focusing on legislators alone, they aim at controlling those responsible for enforcement. Take George Soros for an example. He understood that enforcement is where the power really lies. Instead of pouring money into Congress, he invested in district attorneys who decide which cases to prosecute. This means that while lawmakers might write tough on crime laws, a DA could decide not to enforce them based on political ideology. Even if the laws are on the books, they're only as effective as those willing to enforce them. This plays out with Mayorkas at the Department of Homeland Security. He's been accused of refusing to enforce immigration laws at the border, despite those laws being crystal clear. House Republicans even moved to impeach him over this dereliction of duty. When the people tasked with enforcing laws ignore them, the laws are meaningless. Imagine if we stopped ticketing people for speeding. Speed limits would be nothing more than a suggestion. This selective enforcement, or complete lack thereof, is exactly what makes the deep state so dangerous. It allows unelected bureaucrats to ignore and shape laws based on personal agendas without any accountability to the public. Another example is how the FDA uses its regulatory power to blackball companies who take advantage of the Right to Try Act, a law signed by Trump in his first administration that gives terminally ill patients the right to try experimental treatments not yet approved by the FDA. It's also no secret that the CIA, a hotbed of deep state corruption, is active in defending the agency's interests before the country. Don't get me started about the Russian collusion hoax kept alive by the media establishment that acted as a wet blanket for Trump's first term. Completely fabricated story courtesy of the intelligence agencies and DNC. Coupled that with the suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop story, labeled Russian disinformation, the intel agencies colluded with social media platforms to ensure the story was buried and unable to be shared. This is where draining the swamp comes in. The first step is to reform civil service protections. These protections prevent individual workers from being fired for political reasons, but don't prevent widespread layoffs. The idea is cutting all the fat, even if it means cutting a little bit of muscle, because the muscle will regrow. You can restructure the administrative state by implementing large, nonpartisan reductions, making it leaner and more accountable. What the president needs is a cabinet surrounding him that is aligned and devoted to his mission, prepared to bear all the inevitable blowback that comes with such drastic reforms. Something that Donald Trump didn't have in his first term. A cabinet full of anti-establishment experts and masters of their respective crafts, dedicated to reining in the toxic and cancerous bureaucratic growth of the administrative state. The massive blow to the administrative state has already been done. The Supreme Court's ruling overturning the Chevron deference effectively declawed much of the deep state's power. Before the overturning of Chevron, these unelected bureaucrats had the legal authority to interpret vague and contested statutes however they wanted to, enabling them to write their own rules and regulations without congressional action. Now, the interpretations of these vague and contested statutes rest at the feet of the judicial branch, which was originally created to interpret the law, returning the power of creating laws back to the legislative branch and away from unelected bureaucrats. In the end, the problem with the administrative deep state is a structural problem of perverse incentives. A class of federal employees hired for political reasons is insulated from political accountability and motivated to protect their agency's interests ahead of the country's. Safe from political accountability, these agencies become hotbeds of corruption that turn the bureaucratic agencies into unelected lawmakers for the companies that they're meant to regulate. As Ronald Reagan once said, people wouldn't lie with the government if they knew the government couldn't help. They all spend time influencing the government with the knowledge that the government can actually help them. Our government is not and has not been a place where the everyday citizen's interest is respected. The three branches of government keep each other in check and maintain balance, but the founders never desired this fourth branch of government. This deep state, insulated from accountability, wields the power to hold the other branches hostage with their influence. Draining the swamp means returning political accountability to those who we elect to run the government. That way, we ensure that the people who we vote to run the government actually run the government. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button. If you guys support and help the channel grow, please subscribe and ring the bell to stay updated with all my uploads. Finally, whether you agree or disagree, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. I look forward to engaging with you guys in respectful and thoughtful discussions. With that said, see you guys next video. See ya.